There's a fire! Yeah, get out!
Newly released body cam video shows police's first interactions with the stepmom accused of holding her stepson captive for 20 years.
Hello, are you Kimberly?
The 31-year-old stepson weighed just 68 pounds when he was rescued.
Says he hasn't had a shower in over a year.
We're seeing what officers saw when they responded to the house fire set by the stepson, who says he allegedly did it so first responders would come to his rescue. What the stepmom, Kimberly Sullivan, told police before she decided she no longer was going to cooperate with the investigation. We're on the case, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Stewart. I have to show you what we're seeing in this newly released body cam video in the Kimberly Sullivan case out of Waterbury, Connecticut. We have several minutes of new body cam from multiple police officers in Waterbury that responded to a house fire on February 16th.
Come on, come down, come down.
Come on down.
Who else is in the house? Who else is in here?
My stepson is in here.
How many other people?
Listen, that's it. I have 2 cats.
Everybody's out?
Yes.
But your stepson's still inside?
Yeah, he's right here.
Okay,
yes,
come out, come down the road. Come on, come on.
According to investigators, the fire was set by Sullivan's stepson. He now wants to go by the name S. He weighed 68 pounds when firefighters took him out of the house. He claims that his stepmom, Kimberly Sullivan, kept him locked in a room inside that house, only feeding him small amounts of food and water and keeping him locked in the room for 22 to sometimes 24 hours a day. In this body cam video, you can see S being carried to an ambulance by firefighters. His identity is being protected, which is why he's blurred. S said that he lit the flames using printer paper, hand sanitizer, and a lighter that he took from his now deceased father a year prior. Here's the body cam of one of the first police officers to arrive, and as you listen to it, it appears that Sullivan and S are still inside the home.
There's a fire! Yeah, get out! You gotta get out! It's not safe, you have to get out!
Eventually, Kimberly Sullivan gets out of the house. Her stepson was carried out by firefighters. He later told police that he laid on the ground of the home to make sure it was the first responders who would rescue him from what Sullivan allegedly was doing to him since he was 11 years old.
Okay, the dog is going crazy. I don't know what to do. Can I get my purse with my keys so I put my dog in the car? It's
Inside?
It's in this room.
You can't go back inside. You cannot go back inside. Here, come. You cannot go back inside right now. The house is on fire. You're not going back in.
Okay,
all right?
We're
gonna move you.
Can she come down here? Can I go?
Oh, your daughter's the one in that car?
Yes.
She's gonna be over there for you. Okay? I told her to go to the park because we have to get everybody in.
How am I gonna go?
You're gonna walk. We'll walk with you. Okay? Don't worry. I just told her to go to the park and wait for you. Okay? Go ahead. Which apartment is yours?
Son's in the back, semi-responsive. Make sure we get her in the car to see more.
Yeah,
nobody else is in the house, right?
Her family's over
My
there.
cats, my 2 cats.
Okay. Her family's over there, so I told them to go over there with her.
In that video, you heard the officer say that her stepson's semi-responsive and he's in the ambulance. Now, to this point, the first responders are just focused on getting everyone out of the house and to safety and the fire out. I want to take a moment and turn to this Law&Crime legal alert. Did you know that children under the age of 21 are being diagnosed with serious conditions like type 2 diabetes and non-alcoholic fatty liver disease? And research is potentially linking ultra-processed foods to these outcomes. That's where our partners at Morgan & Morgan are ready to step in. This is a law firm that has a lot of history in going up against big corporations, and they're ready to fight for families who deserve justice by holding these food companies accountable. So, if your child under the age of 21 has been diagnosed with conditions like type 2 diabetes or non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, go to forthepeople.com/food. You can also click the link in the description box of this video or scan the QR code on your screen. About 15 minutes later, police have their first conversation with S. We have body cam video of around the time police were speaking with S in the ambulance, but as you look at it, you can see it is heavily redacted and we can't actually hear what they're talking about. But when the conversation ends, the audio in the video comes back and you can hear the police officers reacting to what they just heard this 68-pound man say.
Says he hasn't had a shower in over a year.
At that point, it appears that S began to tell police what he said was allegedly happening to him inside of that house, allegedly at the hands of Kimberly Sullivan. We say allegedly because Kimberly Sullivan has denied the story. She says she is innocent through her attorney and she has pleaded not guilty to charges. Officers seem though to be understanding that this fire they responded to is a little bit more than just a regular house fire.
You want me to hang by stepmom for right now or what?
What?
You want me to hang by stepmom for right now? Or?
Yeah, get her,
I'm trying to find out where the hell she is. Because I just got here.
She's waiting in a car down there.
Okay.
Get her,
all of her info and everything?
we already got all of her info. I just don't want her to go anywhere.
S and Kimberly Sullivan weren't the only members of their family to be on scene that night. A man who identifies himself as Sullivan's son-in-law and one of her daughters also appear to show up on scene.
Calling everybody out right now. Who are you? That's your wife?
No, my wife's in the car. That's the mother-in-law.
Oh, fuck.
That's your mom? Yeah, okay. All right, listen, we gotta get you guys off the road. Go to the other side over there.
The other side?
Yeah, because we're gonna have trucks coming down, so you gotta move. Okay? So when you get there, you need to stay as far as you can, and we'll bring her over when we're done. Perfect, perfect, thank you.
S told detectives that Sullivan's two now adult biological children knew about this alleged abuse inside the home. Both daughters have not been charged. In court, we learned that Sullivan is actually living with one of her daughters as she is now out on bond. Back on the night of the fire, a detective was able to catch up with Sullivan in a parking lot a few blocks from her house. This body cam is about an hour after police had their initial conversation with S. So at this point, police officers know that something may be up.
Hello, are you Kimberly? Hi, I'm Detective Pesh. I investigate all the fires that happen in the city, so I just wanted to get an idea of what you know or what happened.
Parts of the conversation is redacted, but the audio picks up with Sullivan saying that she thought the fire started because S's television caught on fire.
When did he say that?
He said he woke up and the TV was in flames.
Okay. Where was he when he said that to you?
Coming out of his room.
He was coming out of his room?
Yeah. I guess he fell asleep, and I guess he, I don't know, smelled the smoke.
So take me right to the beginning of when you know there's a fire or there's smoke.
I smelled it.
Okay, where were you?
It's bad.
In bed? Where's your bed?
In bed,
Downstairs,
right
upstairs?
upstairs.
Upstairs, okay.
Yeah.
You smelled it, so then what happened then?
That he was, I guess he was sleeping. He passed out.
Okay. But what did you do though, specifically?
I was screaming for him. I was
Okay.
screaming it, for him, and I was trying to go into the room, but it was just, there were just flames. So he came out of the room. He actually woke up. He came out of the room.
So when you saw him at first, he was sleeping?
No, he was talking.
Okay.
But he said that he couldn't come out of the room because there were flames.
Okay.
And I was standing like back because I could see them, and I said, just come out.
And he couldn't get out because of the flames?
Right. I said, just come out. Just come out.
Okay.
Just come out,
Did he run through him?
I guess he did, yeah.
Okay.
I guess he did.
Was the door locked in his room or no?
No.
Okay. Is it normally locked?
No.
Okay,
No.
it's normally open?
No, yeah.
And he has free reign to go out of there whenever he wants?
Yeah.
Okay. Does he have any mental challenges or anything?
The audio cuts out again as they apparently discuss S's mental health history. You can hear the questioning from the detective start to get a little more specific about what type of movement S had inside of the home, and also you can hear that inflection in Sullivan's response. Court records say that Sullivan told the detective that S, quote, had a lot of problems, but isn't diagnosed with any conditions because S's biological dad, who died in January 2024, was against doctors. She also claims to have brought S to a psychiatrist to be treated, but records of that have not been released, so it's unclear if that's true.
That's why I'm asking if there's a history of. Okay. So no, nothing like that in the past? Okay. So other than you, were you sleeping, you said, in your bed?
Yeah.
Okay. You smell smoke, right? You get up, you go to his room. right? And you're
I'm screaming.
screaming, yeah.
He must have been sleeping and just, I don't know, just
Okay.
didn't realize until it was actually happening.
Yeah, yeah, okay. And you're telling him to get out of the room, because there's flames there.
He was scared because of the.
Yeah, and I get that.
And I said, just cut, go through them, whatever, just come out of the room.
Yeah. And where do you go at that point?
We both went downstairs.
So he was able to get out with you at that time.
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay. And I was trying to hit 911, and I was just so shaken. It took me a second.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I get that. All right. You're gonna be here for a little while.
Well, I was gonna go to the hospital.
Okay. Is somebody with you?
Yeah.
Okay. Who's with you?
My daughter.
Oh, okay.
Husband.
Oh, okay. Do they live at the house too? It's just you and your son? Okay. And you're gonna go to the hospital? Okay.
That's where my other daughter is.
Oh, that's where she is?
She's there too.
All right, I'm fine with that. He's at St. Mary's, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's where you're gonna go now?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. If I need to talk to you later, you don't have a problem talking with me, right? Okay. Thank you.
Now, you can't hear Sullivan's response to that question of whether she would be available to talk to police again, or maybe she nodded her head. But according to the arrest affidavit, when the detective tried to talk to Sullivan at a later date, she said that she had spoken with a lawyer and would no longer be cooperating with the investigation. When S got to the hospital, he told detectives a story he said he was silenced from telling for 20 years when he was allegedly held captive inside that home. He said that he set the fire because he wanted his, quote, freedom. Court records show that S was pulled out of school when he was 11 years old because Kimberly Sullivan and her husband, the now dead Craig Sullivan, who was S's biological father, were tired of DCF being called on the family because of how hungry S was when in school. S's former principal has spoken to local media saying that he remembers S as a young boy stealing other kids' food and drinking out of the toilet at school because he was thirsty. S went on to say, inside his room as the years went on, he had to use bottles and newspaper to dispose of waste from going to the bathroom. He said he would pee in a bottle, then funnel it into a tube that he created out of straws, and then pour it out of a hole in a window. Police say when they interviewed S at the hospital, his teeth were rotting. S said that when he ate, pieces of his teeth would break off. Kimberly Sullivan was arrested on March 12th. She is charged with assault, kidnapping, and unlawful restraint. She's pleaded not guilty. Her attorney has said that she was shocked to learn what was being alleged against her and that she is innocent. I spoke with Kimberly Sullivan's attorney last week. One of our first questions was about why he believes that people should not trust the story that Kimberly Sullivan's stepson is telling.
Right now, those are just one person's allegations. And what I can tell you, having done this more than 20 years now, is a lot of times these allegations fall apart. There are problems with the story. And unfortunately, I can't get into all those details now because a lot of this is ultimately going to come out at trial when certain people take the stand through cross-examination, through the introduction of our testimony from our witnesses and our experts that we anticipate. What I can tell you is I've had extensive conversations with my client, and she disputes the claims. She says it didn't happen. And, so I understand the whole world wants to believe the claims that are being made by her accuser, but I think those claims need to be examined critically. It's not enough to say, I was locked in a room. Look, there's a lock on the outside of the door, and then nothing more. And that's what we're really going to do throughout this process and at the time of trial.
Ionis Kaloidis did not answer several of the questions that we asked that would shed light on his client, life inside her house, and her relationship with her stepson, saying that more will come out as this case gets closer to trial and at trial. For example, the attorney wouldn't talk much about Kimberly Sullivan's marriage to her late husband, who he claims called the shots in the house when it came to how S was raised. Now, we know that DCF did visit the Sullivan family twice after S was pulled out of school in 2005. Allegations of abuse were declared unsubstantiated. Kaloidis claims to have DCF records from that visit and a pediatrician who examined S. Now, this would have been when he was around 11 years old.
He was cleared by his pediatrician. That is contained in the records. The pediatrician cleared the family with respect to any weight issues, and so did the Department of Children and Families. Multiple times.
Do you have the pediatrician's name?
I do.
And are they prepared to testify on your client's behalf at trial? If this were to
At
go
this
that
point,
far?
at this point, I haven't spoken to that pediatrician. I honestly don't even know if he's alive. This is something that was recently within the last, I think I've had these records maybe a week. So, I mean, there's still stuff that's coming in. And that's why I'm urging people not to rush to judgment, because the more discovery that we get in, the more problems we see with the state's case.
I also asked Kimberly Sullivan's attorney about allegations that his client never let people, including close friends, inside her house. I think of the last court appearance that Kimberly Sullivan had, and the state said that their case became stronger because several witnesses have come forward. And there was one witness they talked about, they said was a friend of Kimberly Sullivan for 21 years. She was never allowed in the house, and Kimberly Sullivan never talked about her stepson. What does your client say about that?
So there's going to be a lot of people that are going to come out of the word work. And there's a lot of people that are going to rush to say something bad about her to get their time in the spotlight. Unfortunately, we do have to deal with those people and the claims that they are making. But interesting, what that person is not saying is that they ever saw any restraint, that they ever saw anyone held in captivity. There are plenty of families that have very different dynamics. There are families where siblings don't talk for decades, don't acknowledge other family members. There's good relationships and there's bad relationships. The full dynamic of this relationship, I think, will come out at the time of trial. But my client has told me that they generally had a good relationship. They interacted on a daily basis. They were in the kitchen together every morning. There was no hostility. When I say my client was blown away and is blown away, that's not an understatement. That's not theatrics. That is the honest truth.
I know that he, as an adult, and you've said this, he can take care of himself, in your opinion, though he was at 68 pounds and medical experts told police that he had some very serious health conditions when he was taken to the hospital on the night he was taken out of the house when there was the fire. Why did Kimberly Sullivan not reach out to authorities, or did she reach out to authorities over the years when his weight was getting so bad? And it's not just his weight when he steps on the scale and the number, but the fact that he was having serious health conditions when you are so underweight.
The evidence that we believe will come out of trial will be that she did encourage him. She could not force him, though. So you can't force someone to get help if they don't want to. She did nothing to restrain him or prevent him. And from a legal standpoint, that's where her obligation ends. She's not obligated under the law to force someone to take better care of themselves. She did not commit a crime in this case.
Were people allowed inside the home?
I believe there will be testimony that there were people inside the home at times. I have no reason to believe that anyone was prevented.
Does Kimberly Sullivan have any pictures of her and her stepson over the years from the time that he was taken out of school to 32 years old, 33 years old as he is now?
So we are going through some of the pictures that were found in the home. That's something that'll probably come out at the time of trial as well.
It's unclear how often S went to the doctor for the rest of the years that he was a minor. Colloides said that Kimberly Sullivan also may testify at trial. Waterbury police later released pictures inside the house showing rooms certainly damaged by smoke, but also disgusting conditions in the bathroom and locks on the outside of doors. I asked Sullivan's attorney about that. I know you've been frustrated with the pictures that were released by Waterbury police showing the inside of the home that I know we noted was after there was smoke damage from the fire inside, but how do you explain the locks that were on the outside of the door? And I know you said that they were there before she moved into the house. It looks like an older home. How can you prove that those locks were there prior to Kimberly Sullivan living in that house on Blake Street?
The way a lot is going to be proven in this case through the testimony of witnesses. It may be through her testimony. It may be through the testimony of other witnesses. I think the bigger issue is, how is the state going to prove that those locks were actually used? How is the state going to prove that those locks were engaged during a time where my client is charged and where this individual was unable to get out?
Sullivan is currently out on $300,000 bond and is on a GPS monitor. Cloitis is appealing her being on that GPS tracker, and he's also filed a motion for Sullivan to get her phone back, which has not been granted as of yet at the time of this recording. Another motion that he filed was to allow Sullivan to return to the scene of the fire, to that house on Blake Street in Waterbury, Connecticut. He says that will be looked at during Sullivan's next court appearance, which is slated for May 27th. As for Kimberly Sullivan's stepson, a man who now wants to go by the name S, he recently released his first public statement since he was pulled from that house in Connecticut on that cold night in February. He says that he is now getting stronger and he is getting healthier. He also said, quote, "I am a survivor of more than 20 years of captivity and domestic abuse. I was held prisoner in my home from the time I was taken out of the 4th grade at age 11 until 2 months ago at the age of 31 when I purposely set a fire that helped set me free." S also thanked the first responders who rescued him from the house, the people you saw in that newly released body cam video. This is a case that we have been on from the very beginning and will continue to be on it going forward. For On the Case presented by Law&Crime, I'm Stewart. We'll see you next time.